The Galactic Scientific Council prided itself on understanding every species in known space. They had catalogued the biology of crystalline beings who lived in pure energy. They had documented the social structures of hive minds spanning entire star systems. They had even successfully communicated with sentient gas clouds, but humanity kept breaking their models. Dr. Velxis, a tall insectoid scientist with compound eyes that shimmered like oil on water, stood in the observation deck of the research station orbiting Earth. Her 4 arms clutched a datapad so tightly it began to crack. "Explain this to me again," she said to her assistant, a young tent Harry named Kix whose tentacles writhed with nervous energy. Kix pulled up a holographic image. It showed a human child, no more than 5 cycles old, sitting on a floor. Next to the child was a creature with sharp teeth, powerful jaws, and the build of a natural predator. "This," Kix said carefully, "is what humans call a dog. According to our analysis, it descended from apex predators called wolves. It has a bite force of 230 pounds per square inch. It could easily kill the small human." Dr. Velxis watched the hologram. The child grabbed the dog's face with both hands. The dog's tail wagged. The child laughed. "And the human, is this normal behavior?" "Apparently yes. The humans call this petting. They seem to derive joy from physical contact with creatures that could theoretically end their lives." Dr. Velxis's antennae drooped in confusion. "Perhaps it's a dominance display? A show of fearlessness to intimidate rivals?" Kix pulled up another image. An elderly human woman in a rocking chair. On her lap sat a small furry creature, purring contentedly. "This is a cat," Kix explained. "Descended from solitary ambush predators. Retractable claws, razor-sharp teeth, lightning reflexes. This particular specimen weighs approximately 8 pounds. 8 pounds? That's barely a threat to, the human calls it Mr. Whiskers and has installed a miniature palace in her dwelling for it. She spends 30% of her income on its comfort. The cat shows no gratitude and occasionally attacks her feet without provocation." Dr. Velxis stared. "And she tolerates this. She says, and I quote, 'He's just a little grumpy boy who needs extra love.'" The council called an emergency session. 17 species gathered in the Grand Amphitheater on Concordia Station. Holographic displays showed image after image of humans engaging in incomprehensible behavior with dangerous fauna. Ambassador Krell, representing the reptilian Sauros Dominion, gestured at a video with one clawed hand. "Look at this. The human has wrapped a scaled predator around their neck like decorative fabric. It's called a pet snake," a human delegate named Maya Chen explained calmly from her seat. "That's Gerald. He's a ball python. Very docile." "Docile?" Krell's crest flared bright red. "It's a constrictor. My ancestors evolved to fear such creatures." "Gerald wouldn't hurt a fly," Maya said. "Well, he would. That's what we feed him. But he wouldn't hurt a person." "Why do you keep it?" demanded a crystalline Zalari representative, their form pulsing with agitated orange light. Maya smiled. "Because he's cute and I love him." The chamber erupted in chaos. 17 different species tried to comprehend the concept of keeping predators for cuteness and love. Dr. Velxis stood, calling for order. "Representative Chen, perhaps you can help us understand. What purpose do these pets serve? Are they guards? Weapons? Food reserves?" No, and definitely not," Maya said, looking horrified at the last suggestion. "They're companions. Friends. Family members." "Family?" A gaseous nebulite flickered with confusion. "But they're different species. The genetic exchange is impossible. Not that kind of family. Emotional family. They make us happy. We take care of them, they provide companionship, and everyone wins." A long silence followed. Finally, the Zalari representative spoke. "Humans keep deadly creatures in their homes, for emotional support?" "Exactly. That is the most irrational thing I have ever heard." Maya shrugged. "Wait until you hear about horse girls." The council decided to conduct field research. If they were going to understand this bizarre human behavior, they needed direct observation. Dr. Velxis led a delegation to Earth, specifically to a location humans called a dog park. Nothing could have prepared them. Dozens of humans stood in an enclosed area while creatures of various sizes ran chaotic patterns around them. Some creatures were massive, easily capable of overpowering their human handlers. Others were so small they seemed structurally unsound. A human threw a stick. A large golden-furred creature sprinted after it, retrieved it, and brought it back. The human threw it again. The creature chased it again. Why? Velxis whispered. Why do they repeat this pointless action? The human says it's fun, Kix reported, monitoring his scanner. Both parties seem to be experiencing elevated dopamine levels. They're getting high on repetitive stick transportation? Apparently. A small human child ran past, giggling, pursued by a tiny dog with a disproportionately large head. The dog's tongue flopped comically out of its mouth. An enormous creature that looked like it was bred for war trotted up to Dr. Velxis and sat down, tail wagging, creating small dust clouds. Don't move, Kix whispered frantically. It could be sizing you up for an attack. The dog leaned against Velxis's leg and looked up at her with big, soulful brown eyes. Oh no, Velxis said. It's doing something to my neural chemistry. What? I think I want to pet it. Doctor, no. That's clearly a manipulation tactic. Velxis reached down with one careful hand and touched the dog's head. The dog's tail wagged harder. It made a pleased snuffling sound. Kix, Velxis said softly. I would die for this creature. It's been 30 seconds. I have bonded. We are pack now. The dog's owner walked over, a middle-aged man in casual clothing. Sorry about Bear. He's friendly, just doesn't understand personal space. Bear. Velxis looked at the massive animal. This is named for one of your planet's most dangerous predators? Yep. Because he's big and cuddly like a teddy bear. Your planet has bears that invite cuddling? Well, no, those will definitely kill you. But toy versions are very popular with children. Kix's tentacles knotted with stress. You make miniature versions of deadly predators for your offspring to sleep with? Of course. Kids love stuffed animals. The research delegation watched a human woman sitting on a bench. On her lap was a cat. Next to her on the bench was another cat. At her feet sat a dog. Approaching her was yet another human walking 3 more dogs. The human appears to be a collector, Kix noted. Perhaps this is a status symbol? Proof of her hunting prowess? They approached to investigate. Excuse me, Dr. Velxis said politely. We are conducting research on human-animal relations. May we ask why you have so many creatures? The woman looked up, surprised. Oh, are you from the Galactic Council? Maya mentioned you might be visiting. She gestured at the cats. This is Mittens and this is Socks. The dog is Buster. And I'm pet-sitting these 3 for my neighbor. Pet-sitting? Yeah, watching them while she's on vacation. I already have 2 dogs and 3 cats at home, so what's a few more, right? Velxis's translator struggled with the casual tone. You care for 8 creatures simultaneously? Well, 9 technically. I also have a rabbit named Pancake. Why? The woman seemed confused by the question. Because they needed homes and I had space. But the resource investment, the time commitment, what do you gain? The woman smiled and scratched the cat's ears. Mittens purred loudly. I gain everything. Come home after a bad day and this little guy is happy to see me. That's worth more than anything. That evening, the delegation gathered at their temporary Earth quarters to compile their findings. Humans form emotional bonds with other species at an unprecedented rate, Dr. Velxis reported. They anthropomorphize creatures with limited intelligence, projecting emotional complexity that may not exist. But here's the strange part, Kix added. The bond appears to be reciprocal. The animals show genuine affection. Their stress hormones decrease in human presence. They seek out human contact voluntarily. Impossible, said another researcher, a methane-breathing Zulon who attended via sealed suit. Cross-species emotional bonding is theoretically a small orange cat walked into the room through a window they'd left open. The cat surveyed the aliens with complete indifference, hopped onto the table where they were working, and sat directly on Velxis's datapad. "Excuse me," Velxis said. "That is important research." The cat began grooming itself. "Remove yourself." The cat looked at her with half-closed eyes that radiated supreme confidence that it would not, in fact, be moving. "Kix, assist me in relocating this creature." Kix reached out with a tentacle. The cat's paw shot out faster than their sensors could track. Claws extended. The tentacle retracted. It has claimed your datapad," Kix said. "I recommend we yield the territory." Dr. Velxis reached out slowly and touched the cat's head with one careful finger. The cat's eyes closed. A rumbling sound emerged from its chest. "It's vibrating," Velxis said with wonder. "Is it malfunctioning?" "According to my data, that's called purring. It indicates contentment." The cat stood, stretched elaborately, walked across the table leaving paw prints on their documents, and settled into Velxis's lap. It circled 3 times, kneaded her legs with its claws, and curled into a perfect circle. 10 minutes later, Velxis was still sitting completely still, afraid to disturb the sleeping cat. "Doctor," Kix whispered. "We have 17 more interviews scheduled." "Cancelled. I have been chosen. This is my life now." News of humanity's pet keeping spread throughout the galaxy. Most species found it baffling. Some found it disturbing, and then the KONN made a terrible mistake. The KONN were a warrior culture. They believed showing affection was weakness. When they learned humans kept creatures for companionship, they saw an opportunity to prove human inferiority. The KONN ambassador arrived on Earth with a formal challenge. They brought their greatest combat beast, a creature bred for arena fighting. Armored scales, venomous spines, muscles like coiled steel. "Humans," the KRYNN ambassador announced. "You claim your pets are companions. We have brought a true beast. Let us see if your weak creatures can face it." The human delegation looked concerned. Maya Chen stepped forward. "Ambassador, that's really not necessary. Are you refusing the challenge? Admitting your pets are useless?" Maya sighed. "Fine. But you asked for this." She pulled out her phone and made a call. "Hey Mom, can you bring Rex to the embassy?" "Yeah, the KONN want to meet him." 20 minutes later, a small human woman arrived. She was holding a leash. At the end of the leash was the largest dog the KONN had ever seen. Rex was a Caucasian shepherd, bred for centuries to fight off wolves and bears. He weighed 200 pounds of muscle and thick fur. He was, in technical terms, an absolute unit. The KONN's combat beast took one look at Rex and slowly backed away. Rex sat down, tongue lolling out in a dopey grin, and waited for someone to throw his tennis ball. "This is your combat beast?" the KONN asked skeptically. "Combat beast? Oh no, no. This is my mom's emotional support dog. He helps with her anxiety." "That creature provides emotional support? Best therapy dog in the state. He especially loves children." As if summoned, a group of human children ran over from a nearby park. They swarmed Rex, hugging him, climbing on him, using him as a pillow. The massive dog's tail wagged so hard his entire back half moved. One small child, no more than 4 years old, grabbed Rex's face with both hands and planted a kiss on his nose. "Death machine," the child yelled happily. The KONN stared. Their combat beast had hidden behind them. "Your species," the KONN ambassador said slowly, "has domesticated apex predators to make children happy." "Well yeah," Maya said. "What else would you do with them?" Within a month, the galaxy changed. IT started slowly. A Zalari diplomat adopted a cat after spending time on Earth. The cat helped with stress during tense negotiations. Then a Zulon scientist discovered that guinea pigs' whistling sounds were oddly soothing when converted to their frequency range. A Soros military commander, after much internal conflict, admitted that watching fish swim in a tank helped them relax. Soon, pet shops began opening on space stations. The first one was run by an enterprising human named Jake who figured he'd make a killing selling Earth animals to aliens who'd just discovered companionship. He was right. Dr. Velxis returned to the Council 6 months after her first visit to Earth. She was carrying a small traveling container. "Fellow councillors," she announced, "I have completed my research on human pet-keeping behavior." "And your findings?" the council leader asked. Humans have somehow weaponized emotional fulfillment. They take creatures designed by evolution to be predators or prey, and through some inexplicable process, transform them into beings that provide psychological comfort. She opened the container. The orange cat, the same one that had claimed her lap months ago, emerged and immediately jumped onto the council's main table. "This is Marmalade," Velxis continued. "I have, against all logic and reason, become what humans call a cat person." The council leader stared. "You adopted a creature?" "He adopted me. That's how cats work, apparently." She paused. "I recommend we update our assessment of humanity. Any species that can convince apex predators to coexist peacefully in small dwellings, that can turn predatory instincts into playful behavior, that can generate galaxy-wide obsession with cute animals, yes? Is either the most advanced psychological manipulators in the known universe, or they've discovered something about emotional connection that we've all missed for millennia." Marmalade walked across the table, knocked over the council leader's ceremonial water vessel, and sat in the resulting puddle. "And which is it?" the council leader asked. Dr. Velxis watched Marmalade groom himself with utter indifference to the chaos he'd caused. "Yes." The council session was interrupted by an urgent message. "Councillors," a KRYNN military officer appeared on screen. "We need to report a situation." "What situation?" The officer looked deeply embarrassed. "3 of our battle fleets have requested permission to bring their dogs with them on long-range missions. For morale. Denied. Too late. The crews threatened mutiny. They said, and I quote, 'You'll pry Mr. Fluffybottom from our cold, dead hands.'" The council leader put their head in their hands. "Humanity has won," they muttered. "Not with weapons. Not with technology. With fuzzy companions that make us happy." From her seat, Maya Chen smiled and scratched Marmalade behind the ears. "Yeah," she said. "That's kind of our thing."